I want to first of all thank you all of you who are watching this video, for taking this journey with me. It's taken a while. I think it's been at least a couple months, but I'm so grateful to have been able to read this book, finish it finally. It's my third time trying to read it, and it really took this accountability, this people watching, and me taking the time to share what I was gaining to be able to finish the book. I don't know why. I don't know why it was so hard. I don't usually have a hard time finishing books, but for some reason this one I would have a hard time finishing it. But perhaps there was a reason. I don't know. But I got a lot out of it, and I just want to take a few minutes to share a few reflections with you. And I want to start off just by reading Rick Warren's the vision that he shared in his first sermon in April of 1980. It's called the Saddleback Vision. It's kind of famous now. It is the dream of a place where the hurting, the depressed, the frustrated, and the confused can find love, acceptance, help, hope, forgiveness, guidance, and encouragement. It is the dream of sharing the good news of Jesus Christ with the hundreds of thousands of residents in South Orange County. It is the dream of welcoming 20,000 members into the fellowship of our church family, loving, learning, laughing, and living in harmony together. It is the dream of developing people to spiritual maturity through Bible studies, small groups, seminars, retreats, and a Bible school for our members. It is the dream of equipping every believer for a significant ministry by helping them discover the gifts and talents God gave them. It is the dream of sending out hundreds of career missionaries and church workers all around the world and empowering every member for a personal life mission in the world. It is the dream of sending our members by the thousands on short-term mission projects to every continent. It is the dream of starting at least one new daughter church every year. It is the dream of at least 50 acres of land on which we will build a regional church for South Orange County, with beautiful yet simple facilities including a worship center, seating thousands, a counseling and prayer center, classrooms for Bible studies and training lay ministers, and a recreation area. All of this will be designed to minister to the local person spiritually, emotionally, physically, and socially, and set in a peaceful, inspiring garden landscape. I stand before you today and state in confident assurance that these dreams will become reality. Why? Because they are inspired by God. And the amazing thing is, I'm sure there were people at that time who were like, yeah, I don't know about this. But, now that we have the opportunity to look back 37 years later, we can see that he's accomplished that much and more. And it's pretty amazing that he had this kind of vision from the beginning. Maybe it's not amazing, maybe it's obvious. Maybe it's the reason why he was able to accomplish what he has. But in any case, it's what it is. It's humbling for us because 3 years into our ministry now, we don't even have this kind of a clear vision. Of course, we have a vision, we have ideas, we have hopes and dreams, but we, especially from the beginning, we didn't really have this kind of way of thinking. Our way of thinking was, we're gonna invest our all, we're gonna invest our 100%, but we're gonna see what happens. And I guess that was okay to get us in the door. But now, over 3 years later, you can't just keep doing and doing and doing. It's really a lot of work. It's very emotionally and physically tiring to do this kind of work and working with people. And I'm glad that we came to the point where we made a long-term commitment, because maybe without the long-term commitment, it can just seem like endless and sometimes pointless effort. But now we're really thinking, this is our life work. And of course, we're doing this with other people, we're doing this with you, but in the end, if we're going to be investing the next 20 or 30 or 40 years of our life into this, if we're going to make this our life work, what do we want to see come from all? What do we want to see come from that? What would we feel is worthwhile investing our life effort into? What would we feel good about? So we already, me and Adonia already wanted to do something for God in our life, but we didn't really know what that would be. And the first time that somebody ever, the first time that we were kind of got thinking about this long-term vision was when we had a Ukrainian team visiting us for a week or so, and they were sharing with us about how in Ukraine they have a 21-year plan, and they're already like halfway through or three-quarters of the way through. They started it like 10 or 15 years ago, and they showed us, that how far they've come in terms of actually accomplishing their goals. And it was inspiring, yet at the same time I couldn't relate to it at that time. This was maybe maybe even 3 years ago. And we didn't really have that kind of a mindset of a long-term goal. So even though it sounded nice, the idea of a 21-year goal plan and all this stuff, but we weren't really committed that long, so it was really hard for us to wrap our head around, at least for me. But I'm really seeing that as I read this book and as I read other leadership books, that really, if you hope to accomplish something meaningful, then you have to have a long-term vision. Long-term vision is what's going to create the kind of results we're looking for. And so now we're thinking, as we've already made the decision and commitment and shared publicly that we're committed for our life, that 21-year plan sounds more and more reasonable all the time. So now we're thinking about what kind of 21-year plan do we want to have, and I really love this. I love how he's very clear about the kind of he really kind of paints the picture, like the kind of environment that's going to be both physically, the building and the landscaping and things like that, but also the social and emotional environment. And also it paints a picture of how he's going to raise those people, how he's going to equip people to be successful and help people become spiritually mature. In my mind, it's amazing that he already has this kind of a concept. I mean, when he wrote this, he was like 25 years old, just becoming a parent, so you would think to be relatively inexperienced and unwise, but somehow he expresses a lot of wisdom and understanding about people and about vision through this simple statement. And you can see how, even just from the beginning, they had like a couple hundred people come back for the next Sunday. And he started off that way. So he really had a commitment to take care of people, and he really had a commitment to the vision. So that's really something that I'm taking away from this book. Another thing I'm taking away from the book is the process through which Rick Warren developed a method to raise people to become mature spiritually and emotionally and character, and the emphasis that he places on that. Whereas a lot of Christian people would just say, if you're saved, then that's enough. Of course, you should become a Christ-like person. You should become involved in a ministry, but they don't really make it a requirement. He makes it a requirement. He says you need to. Oh, remember at one point he said, they take people off their membership roster every year, because if those people are not fulfilling the basic requirements of being members of the church, then they're not interested in having numbers. So I thought that was pretty interesting. And and I think that another thing that can that can be easy to do when you read these kind of books and you look back on 30 plus years of progress and success, is to think that it was that he had it easy somehow, or that the success came easily, or wasn't full of challenges. I think it's probably the opposite. I think that it was probably full of challenges. He was full of setbacks and discouraging situations. Yet, because he had the vision, and because he knew how to help people to catch the vision, because he knew how to care for people and raise people up, he could go forward and go over those things. And that's, I think, very, very important for us to keep in mind. And another thing is that I'm recognizing the need that I kind of knew this already, but I'm recognizing more significantly, that for Donnie and I, as the pastors and as the leaders of the community, we need to invest into self-growth more. We need to invest into becoming better leaders. Whatever skills and areas that we're lacking in order to be able to lead people well, cast a vision well, work with people well, delegate well, these kind of things that we need to work on, because the degree to which our church community will be able to grow and prosper will be more or less dictated by our ability to make and allow those things to be able to happen. It's a common theme. I'm seeing it in this book. I'm seeing it in other leadership books. I personally never liked the word leader. I think it kind of has, especially in our movement, kind of has a stigma to it. Bad emotion or feeling comes along with it. So we don't have to use the word, but at the same time, I'm recognizing more and more that our movement really needs strong leadership. Our local community needs good leadership. We need leadership that's going to be able to help us to overcome whatever hurdles are in the way and help us to see the vision and catch a vision and sacrifice and work towards the vision. And that's not an easy thing to do, and that's not something you can do just by being kind of lackadaisical or kind of, we'll just see what happens kind of thing. So a lot of food for thought. I mean, there's so much more. There's so much more I've gotten out of this, but those are just some kind of major things that I felt really strongly about. If you have some things that you want to share with me, please feel free to email or Facebook me, and just share some things that you got out of this. I'd love to hear back from you. But in any case, thank you for just being on this journey. Adonia and we're going to start working now on this 21-year plan. And it's going to look something like this, but it's not going to be like this because our priorities are different, our inspirations are different, our goals are different. But I really hope that it can be something that everyone can feel empowered by, and that we can work towards it. We'll hang it up on the wall or whatever we need to do to constantly remind people of where we're going. And that's about all I have to say. So it's weird to say goodbye, but I guess that's it. So maybe I'll do this again sometime with another book or something like that. But I've really enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.